I thought I would add a little bit more. Um, if God had intended me to be a medical doctor, I would have been a medical doctor. If God had intended for me to be a veterinarian, I would have been a veterinarian. If God had intended for me to be a stockbroker, I would have been a stockbroker. If God had wanted me to be a CEO, I would have been a CEO. If God had wanted me to be whatever, then God would have cleared the path, if that makes sense. It's just like if God had wanted me to be a judge on a bench, then God would have made me a judge on a bench. If God had wanted me to be in public office, then God would have put me in. God would have made sure that I had been put into public office. If I it doesn't mean that the things that have happened it doesn't mean that there wasn't a reason for the things that have happened to me, if that makes sense. Um somebody told me that I should have that basically I had so much potential. I could be like, I could be the next Nancy Lopez. And I said, who is that? And they were like, you know who Nancy Lopez is, don't you? And I said, no, otherwise I wouldn't have asked who Nancy Lopez is. And when they told me she was a professional golfer, all I could think of is, what a miserable life. Why would I want to it's just kind of like, why would anybody would want to be a professional actor? Why would somebody want to be a professional band member? why would somebody think it would be great to be on television? I mean, I remember when somebody thought that I would like being on television. I was like, no, I hated it. It's just like when I was told that I had to go sing for some kind of radio thing, I was like, ugh. I didn't enjoy that kind of crap at all. Just like having to get up on stage and dance, I was like, ugh. I just look at this stuff and it's just like, but I think it's kind of funny also that basically, when I had to play a musical instrument in school, I, I, I picked the drums. And even back then, I played to a different beat. I look at it, and it's just like everybody else is playing with the, what is it called? Music conductor, whatever it is. Musical, whatever they're called. Was busy doing with their hands, and I was busy doing my own thing. I remember that there was some kind of assignment that I had to do something like, it's like, yuck, I don't want to draw it realistically, so I went ahead and drew it abstractly. What was funny is I went ahead and I'm right-handed, and I was like, forget having to draw it realistically. So I intentionally put the uh, writing utensil on my left hand. In fact, there was something that happened several months ago, and I was like looking at everybody walking and then turning to the left. I'm like, forget that crap. I want to just. I want to turn to the left. What was really sad is that they've actually done studies where I call it the flea circus effect. It's called the Pygmalion effect. And that's when somebody intentionally puts a lid onto a container of fleas. Well, but let me backtrack. A container is brought out like a jar, and then fleas are put into the jar, and the fleas are just jumping up all over the place. And then what happens is a lid is then put on top of the container, and then all of a sudden the fleas go ping, 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 and their heads hit the top of the container. And then once the lid is removed, the fleas only go up to the level at which the lid was put on. And what I'm getting at is, just think about how it's like people are people are made to think two-dimensionally. It's like if I were to hand somebody 6 toothpicks and say, uh, make make uh make 4 triangles out of that without the toothpicks overlapping. People are so used to thinking two-dimensionally that they don't even think about like putting 3 of the toothpicks down in order to make a triangle, and then uh taking the other 3 toothpicks in order to make it look more like a pyramid. I mean, people are kind of like, it's just like there's something called, what is it, Frankie Schaefer worksheets. And there was a friggin' moron, excuse my. She was a control freak. What it is basically the children were supposed to take out the crayons and put like a red X on the nose. Do this with this color of crayon, do that with that color of crayon. And the teacher didn't even have enough crayons for the children to choose from. And she was so anal retentive that she kept the crayons locked up in the cabinet. And what was amazing is that was the kind of teacher who got tenured status. And she used to scream at the children. It was so bad that one of the children would wet his pants and then go to the office, and the secretaries of the office would act stupid about the level of. It was pathetic. It was absolutely pathetic. And the principal just acted dumb about it. And I thought, if only people only knew what was going on inside schools. I don't think they'd ever send their children there. I really mean that. I was told to do a classroom observation, and I walked into the class and sat down, and teacher yelled and screamed at the children. So then when I was asked to give my input, I said I wouldn't want to go to that classroom either. I said all the teacher does is yell and screams at the children. And then there were some children, they didn't want to go to school, and I ended up talking to them, and they told me that where they would have to walk in order to get to school, that basically people were being sexually molested, and they told me how they were bringing weapons into the school and all that kind of stuff, and so I went ahead and gave my input. I said I don't blame them. They didn't get to sleep last night because of the gunfire that was going on. Uh, they don't want to walk in the alleyways to get to school because of who might sexually molest them, because of who's been sexually molested there before, and and what's really sad is that they are knowingly violating the federal guidelines on testing. Well, let's just do whatever we want to. I mean, I'm just like, it's another WTF in the neighborhood. WTF in the neighborhood. Won't you be my friend? I mean, I just look at some of the things that go on. There was a child, and American English was not their first language, and they were so damned and determined that there's something wrong with the child. And the speech teacher and I both in unison said, well, what about testing her in her native language? But the principal, oh, the little Miss Know-it-all, was was like, in the classroom, teachers knew that there had to be something wrong with the child. Come to find out that the child was a whole heck of a lot smarter. Was like three was the equivalent of like 3 grades smarter than everybody else in her class. I just look at some of this stuff and it's just like, I mean, look at the Common Core math and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, talk about, I can't help but wonder if Common Core is just another way to attack the family unit. I mean, why sit there and change the way that math has been taught so that somebody's grandparents or parents can't help them do math, and why intentionally create chaos is what it is, and confusion. Why intentionally do that? It's kind of like the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's just like I had a dryer, and the dryer quit. The coil inside the dryer quit working. So I went to the place and I told him, I said, I don't know exactly what I need, but this is what the problem is. I didn't know if you had the part for it. And I think they were kind of like shocked. But the guy was real nice, and he said, here's a schematic diagram. And so I went ahead and came back and took the clothes dryer apart. Sure enough, it was the heating coil that had gone bad. I think it was like $18. In fact, what's really sad is that they have done things in order for things to intentionally, what's it called, planned obsolescence or something. It's when they intentionally put glitches and stuff in order to make sure that it breaks down at or about when the warranty expires. Why would somebody do that? Oh, well, they're the same ones that are sending food to be processed in China, where where they use what's called plastic extruders to make plastic look like rice. Duh. I just look at the crap that they do. It's just like, one of the dogs that I had used to literally hide whenever I would go near a Chinese food restaurant. And I'm like, oh crap. My dog knows something that I wish. It's like, oh crap. My dog's pretty daggum smart. The dog would literally jump in the back seat and start shaking. Like, hide me, get me away from there as quick as possible. And I was like, and that's before I saw the videos where they were chopping up mice and rats and cooking them and pretending like it was chicken. Isn't that just gross? Once again, they made a choice to do that. That they made a choice to intentionally deceive. Man, that's just gross. They chose to intentionally deceive and lie to people. Not caring whatsoever what kind of harmful and destruction it would do to people's bodies. I mean, I don't go around going, ooh, I want a bag of plastic to eat. Uh-uh. And what is really sick is they end up using professional actors to advertise, to dress up and pretend like they were medical doctors in order to lie to people about cigarettes being safe to smoke. And they didn't even disclose that the filters were made out of glass. And there's a patent on it. I mean, that's just another example of not giving full disclosure. And making a choice to intentionally lie to and to destroy people. So, same thing with what is called carcinogens being put on paper, and hormones to effeminize men, and acting dumb about what they're doing. I can't remember what that guy's name is. Adam, is it Adam Chandler or Adam Sandler or whatever his name is? That movie, what is it called? Remote or whatever it is, but that movie is worth looking at to just to think about how somebody can just sit there and not give full disclosure, not disclose what they're actually up to, and basically not have any any ability to have empathy and to act dumb about what they're doing.